It's not just Canadians that are fed up with Justin Trudeau. There are high-profile people that are absolutely speechless, in total disbelief at what Justin Trudeau has done to Canada. Today we're taking a look at a couple high-profile people. You got Jordan Peterson, who is on a podcast breaking down one of these insane new bills that Justin Trudeau has passed or is trying to pass. And then you also have Elon Musk that chimes in on this. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. This is insane. I really want to encourage you guys to stick around for the full thing, if not as much as you possibly can, because this is super important information to have. Before we get into it, I want to encourage you guys to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. Share this video out, share it to Reddit posts, share it to Facebook groups. Do what you got to do, because seriously, so many people have to be aware of this new law in Canada. Justin Trudeau is a known wacko. He's out of control, man. He has to be stopped. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Up first, of course, we have just a small little mention here of Justin Trudeau. Wacko Trudeau has to go stickers. These are available, linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. Limited edition for a limited time, limited quantity. So get them before they are all gone. Today, we are looking at Bill C-63. This is the Online Harms Act. Bill C-63. The government of Canada intends to establish a new responsibility regime for social media operators and direct content distributors. What is C-63 law in Canada? An act representing the mandatory reporting of internet child by persons who provide an internet service. So that's what it is on the surface, but it gets way more in depth than that. Here on X, you have a post that has gained a lot of momentum, 22.1 million views. You're going to see why, because Elon Musk has actually chimed in on this specific post. The Trudeau regime has introduced an Orwellian new law called the Online Harms Bill C-63, which will give police the power to retroactively search the internet for hate speech violations and arrest offenders, even if the offense occurred before the law existed. This new bill is aimed at safeguarding the masses from so-called hate speech. This is wild. So this must mean that Justin Trudeau is going to go to jail, right? He dressed up as blackface. Isn't that illegal? Isn't that highly frowned upon? Yeah, you would think it's that simple. The Revolver.news reports the real shocker in this bill is the alarming retroactive aspect. Essentially, whatever you've said in the past can now be weaponized against you by today's draconian standards. Historian Dr. Muriel Blave has weighed in on this draconian law, labeling outright mad. She points out how it literally spits in the face of all Western legal traditions, especially the one about only being punished if you infringed on a law that was valid at the time of committing a crime. And this is where Elon Musk has actually chimed in. He says, this sounds insane if accurate. Community notes, please check. And this was several hours ago. Once you refresh the page, you'll notice that community notes has not done jack shit, because it's absolutely true. Justin Trudeau's ego chimed in saying, it is true, I hate Canadians. The rabbit hole says the C in Canada stands for censorship. Salty Goat says, blackface, does this count? Trump Army, they want to take away your freedom of speech and punish you on your thoughts and political beliefs. I mean, it is absolutely insane with what is going on here in Canada. And I mean, we're going to take a look at what Jordan Peterson has to say. But before we do, let's take a look at what the People's Voice article has to say. All right. The Canadian law proposal is outright mad. It's retroactive, which goes against all Western legal traditions, according to which can be punished only if you infringe on a law that was valid at the time when you committed a crime. And it isn't just stuff you posted after the law comes into force you can get in trouble for. Oh, no. But anything you've posted ever dating back to the dawn of the internet. In other words, it's a golden bow's invitation to offense archaeologists to do their worst, with the prospect of a $20,000 reward if they hit pay dirt. The only way to protect yourself is to go through all your social media accounts and painstakingly delete anything remotely controversial you've ever said. This is insane, man. This is wild. Although that won't protect you from another clause in the bill. And this is where it trips over into as yet unimagined dystopian territory. If the courts believe you are likely to commit a hate crime, hate propaganda, which is not yet defined, you can be placed under house arrest and your ability to communicate with others is restricted. That is, a court can force you to wear an ankle bracelet, prevent you from using any of your communication devices, and then instruct you not to leave the house. If the court believes there's a risk you might get drunk or high and start tweeting under the influence, although unclear how unclear this is, given you can't use your phone or PC, it can order you to submit regular urine samples to the authorities. Anyone who refuses to comply can be sent to prison. This is insane, folks. Like, absolutely insane. So in Canada, you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty not only until you're proven innocent, but you're guilty just based off of the fact that there could be speculation or maybe evidence or a hypothesis that you may in the future, near or into the distant, actually commit a crime. What the hell is going on? How can they even prove that? How can they even ascertain that and submit that shit to court? It doesn't even make any sense. And then not just that, but also all of the stuff that you've said in the past on social media, on Facebook, on old Twitter, whatever it is, can now be used against you. Like, that's cancel culture to the next level. That's insane, radical, woke plague cancel culture at its finest, brought to you by Canada. It's absolutely insane. Next up, we're going to take a look at what Jordan Peterson has to say. This is a clip here from one of his latest podcasts where he breaks down the devil in the details, as per what Jordan Peterson says, on what Bill C-63 actually says.
Let's talk about the devil in the details, because the angel lurking over all of this is fundamentally we're protecting children from being exploited online. Okay, so, well, there are children and they are exploited online and they deserve protection, so that's all and good. What steps are taken in the bill to actually protect children who are being exploited online? Right. And then how do we segue from that to hate? Because those are...
So, by the way, protecting kids online, there are already quite a few laws, many laws, if I'm not mistaken, in Canada that have that in place. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have more. I'm saying, and other professionals are saying, which is what you're about to hear, that it's just like a front billboard. It's to protect kids online. And then as you go through it, like we just did with that article, it's not about that at all. It's about being retroactively penalized. It's freaking insane for shit that doesn't even involve kids, just hate speech or just the cringe era of the internet that can be held against you, apparently.
The same universe.
There's as I say, there are 3 bits in the bill, and they're in the same bill, but they're distinct. So there's the human rights aspect, there's the criminal code aspect, and then this third aspect, which is primarily one that's aimed at the protecting kids, is an administrative regime that gives an agency the power essentially to supervise the online platforms. But it also gives them the power to make the rules. So we don't even know what the rules are going to be. Basically, it just gives the whole control of the thing to a government agency, to the bureaucrats, to do as they think best.
Right,
in the
so
name
they're
of
establishing an entirely new bureaucracy.
Exactly, yes.
With an unspecified range of power.
Okay, I do need to add this in as well. The media is going to tell you that this is a conspiracy theory. Politicians are going to say that this is a conspiracy theory. Woke-ass liberals that can't think for themselves are going to tell you that this is a conspiracy. Your friends, your family, whatever shape or form that comes in. It's not a conspiracy theory. You have Dr. freaking Peterson, who's a very outstanding member of society and very well respected, who has an actual legitimate legitimate person on the podcast who's breaking things down that are saying, hey, yeah, no, this is real. You have Elon Musk, who's also chimed in and is sharing real data on his platform. Like, Elon Musk doesn't share like crazy wacko things, maybe like memes and stuff, right? But I mean, the whole Twitter files is like some real shit that happens. Elon Musk is adding more, I don't want to say fuel to the fire, but he's adding more exposure to what's happening. This is not a conspiracy, folks. This is fucking real life, man. This is, that's all I have to say is, Canada's scary.
With a non-specific purview that purports to protect children from online exploitation, but has the possibility of turning into a policing state for the internet per se.
And this is often how the administrative state works, right? So this agency will not be policing citizens themselves directly, but they'll be policing the online platforms, and the platforms will thereby censor the people who are using them. So we're not doing it. We're hands off. We're 2 steps removed situation. But in effect, it is the government pulling the strings of the.
So to what degree do you think that even the setup of that new administrative bureaucracy, which has very extensive powers and very poorly defined powers, as far as I could tell when I read the bill.
Yes.
How much of that do you think is actually devoted genuinely? I know this is a judgment call, obviously, but you have to infer that from the legislation.
Right.
If the legislation was honest and well written, it would very specifically target the target of its purported reason for existence.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If it was designed, for example, to produce a more general regime for online policing, to me, that's what it looks like. And if so, is that a consequence of poor legislative design? Is it a consequence of intent? Like, what do you think's going on there?
Well, what's going on there is what's been going on inside our law with respect to empowering the administrative state for a long, long time, right? So standard legislation now, at either the federal or provincial level, is authorizing legislation, meaning you pass a bill about a certain subject, and it might contain some rules in it, but it also contains the authority, the delegation of authority to the bureaucrats, to an agency of some kind, to the minister, or to whoever, to a Human Rights Commission, to make policies or guidelines or regulations about certain things. And you can't tell by reading the statute what the rules are. Right. And so you've transferred legislative authority essentially from the legislature to the bureaucracy. And this is not the bureaucracy stealing it. This is the legislature giving it, because they don't want the responsibility of doing it, and they don't want to have to go through the minutiae of figuring out what the right rules are. So they just shove it off into the back rooms, and this is the way the administrative state works. Now, it's if I can say, it's a kind of collusion between the legislature and the courts. So the courts, we have these 3 branches of government. Yes, we have the legislature, we have the courts, and we have the administrative state. And, the division between them is cleanest in the American version of things. But in Canada and the UK, we have them as well. And the legislature and the courts are together supposed to be supervising what the executive branch, the administrative state, is doing. Because the general rule is supposed to be the administration, which used to be the king after all, can't do anything that's not authorized by the legislature. Okay? So these 3 things are checks and balances on each other.
Yeah.
And what Justin Trudeau has done now is he's kind of removed the voting process in Canada, to my understanding, and he's made it so that if he wants to really pass something, he does it in a super sneaky way, which is probably the best way of putting it, and then shit just gets done for what he wants, right? He has these coalitions with the NDP, which is supposed to be its own party, but they're bending at the knee or bending over and allowing Justin Trudeau to come in from behind and do what he wants with or without consent to them. It's insane what's going on here in Canada.
But now they're all on the same page. And the courts and the legislature are convinced about the need for this expansive, overwhelming administrative state. And so instead of supervising the administrative branch. And the courts, instead of making sure that they stick within their powers, the legislature's delegating to it, and the courts are deferring to it. And so what we end up with...
And the legislators don't have to take responsibility.
Exactly.
In either way.
Because we can't find who's responsible anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's all sort of a mystery. It's a moving ball. And this is the way administrative agencies and government departments and ministries can be, quote, agile. They want to be agile. They want to be able to respond to societal problems quickly. Right? Yeah. Well, if you're able to respond quickly, that means you have the legislative power in your hands. Yeah. And that nobody else knows exactly what's going on until it happens. And sometimes not until after the fact, even, right? So that principle of the rule of law that said the rule applies to everybody, both the ruled and the ruler. If you have an agile government making rules up as they go along, well, that means by definition, the rules can't apply to them because they have the power to change them whenever they want to. And so we have agile governments who are managing us, managing society, solving social problems. We are in a managerial era in the law. Management, I would put it this way. Management, the ethos of managerialism has supplanted the rule of law as the basic idea. Instead of the rule of law, we have rule by law now, which means that the law is nothing more than a tool for the government to use to create on a whim.
They also go above and beyond the law. Who's they? The government, and they're exempt. They're exempt from regular accountability that anyone outside of almost the federal politicians or the courts would be held to account. I mean, you saw the best clear-cut example of that is you go back 2.5 years to February 2022 with the Freedom Convoy, right? Where the government abused their power. Fast forward to just recently, it was announced in 2024 that in fact, the rulings, the courts have decided that the invocation of the Emergencies Act was illegal. The government did not have the right authority to invoke the Emergencies Act and do what they did. Yet where is the accountability? Well, as you just heard in this clip that I played, it's all such a mixture of who did what, who gave this approval, the courts, was it the federal, was it provincial, was it this police division, that nobody really knows anymore, and the paper trail is washed. Right? It's all washed. And so no one is held accountable. That's the state in which Canada is. We're living in a police state. Even people are calling it communist dictatorship because we have Justin Trudeau, who so admires the Chinese dictatorship, who's almost copying and pasting all the crap that's happening in dictator countries here in Canada. And now people are going to be penalized for shit they said 10, 15, 20 years ago, since the inception of the internet, since they first made their Facebook account when they were teenagers or whatever the hell it was, be held accountable for stuff. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. Now, if I wasn't mistaken, I think in the article, one of the articles that I read, there's actually a $20,000 reward or something like that for ratting people out. So now there's all these pay incentives. I'm not sure if I'm mistaken or misquoting, but based off of 15 minutes ago when I covered that piece, that's kind of my memory of it right now. It's wild what's going on, and we need to stand up. We need to share this video. We need to share this video because I don't think the Conservative Party of Canada is for this. I think that the Conservative Party of Canada has advocated against this, against the dangers. And because it's guised as a way to protect kids online, it doesn't look very good just on the surface level to normies, right? Liberals are saying, we're going to protect kids online. The Conservatives are saying, we don't like that law. And then liberals got that ammunition to say, what do you mean? You don't want to protect kids? Hey, everybody, look, the Conservatives don't want to protect kids. Wow, you really want to vote for them? When in fact, you just dig a little bit deeper. You dig a little bit deeper under that bill, and it turns out that that's just That's just the front, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the front of the bill. There's a lot more to it. And that's just one bill that Trudeau is trying to pass or has passed, not to mention all of the other things as well. It's wild what's going on here in Canada. So that's where we're going to end the video, folks. I hope you share this to as many people as you possibly can. I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe to the channel. I hope you turn post notifications on. And I hope that you are ready to vote and get our way out of this, because boy, oh boy, we're in for a wild ride if this is the future of Canada, if this is what we're signing up for beyond 2025, the next scheduled federal election. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.